The UFC is headed back to Saudi Arabia, and that means we're going to get some really fun fights, some solid matchups, a high-quality card, and some interesting judges' scorecards. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks. I'm going to give you my bets for UFC Saudi Arabia. But before we do that, let's take a look at the stretch we are about to go on. The UFC has events every single weekend for the next few months. For the next few months, we can look forward to fist fights on Saturdays. And that is very important because that means there are no breaks. There is no time off. We go from UFC Saudi Arabia this week to UFC 312 next week to 2 fight nights the weeks after that, and they aren't in the Apex. The UFC is traveling the country, and they're taking us with them. If you want to unlock all the picks, the bets, the tools, and everything that we do, it's only $10 a freaking month. Month is the key word there. Look at these 4 events. That would be $2.50 event if you boil it down. Every single pick, bet, tool, and more for freaking $2.50. One of those tools is the data analyzer. A lot of you like to do your own research. You watch the videos for some insight. You like to hear what we're doing, see what other people are doing. But at the end of the day, you like to do your own research. Well, I've got news for you. The data analyzer is quite literally the greatest research tool ever made in this space. It has every single event that has been officially announced, every single fight that's been announced, all the fighters, all their statistics, their opponent statistics, and full tape study. A few clicks of the button, you can get to any data point that you want, and you can even watch they fight to make sure that you have your own eyes on that tape before you place your own picks and bets. You also have access to all of our bets. Maybe you don't want to do your research, and that's why you're watching. Well, every single thing I do with my money, everything Jacob does with his money, everything Bet Sam does with his money is available to you. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. You unlock everything. One of those things is the safety parlay. The safety parlay has hit 10 of the last 12 events. 10 of the last 12 events. It's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. What that is consistency. That is the beacon of stability. It's not an accident when you hit 10 of 12. You can unlock the safety parlay. That is one single bet. You can unlock all the other bets, all the other tools, all the other information like the line movement tracker. This is going to give you opening odds, current odds, win probability, line movement for every fighter and every card. The Prop Hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. $10 freaking for an entire month. You're going to get every single event. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Before I jump into the bets, which I will show you, let's talk in generalities. Couple of notes here. First of all, I am filming this far earlier than usual, and that's because I have some travel this week, so getting in front of a computer to do this the right way might be a little tricky later in the week. So if you're watching this, the odds might be a little bit different for you, but that's just what happens. You also may see some matchups that don't exist anymore. We've already had 2 pretty important fights drop for us. That kind of stinks. I'll show you those in a second, but we still have some good spots. If I'm looking at confident favorites, well, I think Shamil Gaziev. Well, he's not going to win a fashion show or a runway competition anytime soon. He should win this fight. He's got good hands. He's got good wrestling. And Thomas Peterson is not very dangerous. So unless Shamil gets taken down over and over, which I don't see happening, he should absolutely win this fight. Terrence McKinney, I hate these odds. Now, talent-wise, Terrence McKinney is deserving of these odds. Talent-wise, this guy's unbelievable. He's fighting a 40-year-old man. Problem is he has no chin, he has no cardio. If things get tough, I don't know what direction it's going to go. He should absolutely win this fight. Honestly, the odds have factored in that he is not reliable because if he was a little bit more reliable, he'd be a minus 1,000 favorite. Then we have Mike Davis. The line movement on this fight's a little bit bizarre to me. Mike Davis is a very, very good fighter who has proven that time and time again. He can wrestle. He can strike. He's strong. He's fast, powerful, athletic. He's all the things. He's had a little bit of unfortunate luck with random injuries and time off between fights, but he's still very good. And yes, his opponent, Faraz Ziam, is coming off a great win. That's his only finish in the UFC. The guy can't finish anybody other than Matt Frevola. He's a point fighter, stays on the outside, avoids trouble. I think Mike Davis gets this done. I think he can out-wrestle him. I think he can outstrike him just with power and speed. I think Mike Davis wins, and we're just getting better and better value on him as the week goes on. And then Jasmine Jasudavicius. She's somebody I have gotten more confident in as the week has gone on. I started off breaking her down by saying, Mayra Bueno Silva's pretty good. Mayra Bueno Silva's pretty tough. Mayra Bueno Silva is somebody that you can't just run right through. And you, the viewers, the people commenting on the videos, overwhelmingly said Mayra Bueno Silva is a quitter with no cardio. I haven't seen a single person say that Mayra, this actually might be a close fight. So with that influence, and the fact that I trust my girl Jazzy to get the takedowns, Jazzy DeVicious is a confident favorite. We do have quite a few underdogs on this card, and it's going to be a weird card. I have a feeling it's either a ton of underdogs or none. I don't think we're going to end up in like some halfway point here like we did at UFC 311 where we had 4 or 5. But if I'm listing out a few, I think Bogdangrad's a solid underdog. He opened as a favorite. This line full-blown flipped. And yes, his opponent is fast and dynamic. His opponent's also a little reckless, takes chances, does things he shouldn't really do. And Bogdangrad's a guy that stays composed, doesn't go hunting for a finish, but will find it. He's got good striking, good wrestling, and he doesn't sort of wilt to pressure. He's not going to cave into a wild slug fight if that's what's coming his way. He will stay composed. He'll do what he's supposed to do and eventually find his spot. So I think he's a solid underdog. Hamdy Abdelwahab. This fight has had some odds flipped. On your book, he might still be an underdog. By the time you're watching this, he might be a full-blown favorite. He opened as a decent underdog. Well, even money. Sorry. He opened at exactly even money, immediately became like a plus 120 dog, instantly. And he stayed there for a while. And now the tide is turning. We're back to even money. He's not a favorite. He's not a dog. We are dead even at minus 110 right now. The reality is he's unreliable in the trust department. He's coming off a USADA suspension for 2 years. He's a guy that stepped up on short notice in his UFC debut. And yes, he won the fight, but it didn't look spectacular. But the reality is the guy is an Olympic wrestler. He has the skills. He's fighting somebody who's not dangerous, who doesn't possess heavyweight power, and probably can't defend all the takedowns. So Hamdy should win this fight. Then we have Michael Venom Page. Controversial pick here. Michael Venom Page is Jacob's underdog lock of the week, and he's a phenomenal striker. I understand there's a weight difference here. I understand he's fighting Shara in Shara's sort of neck of the woods. And I understand these judges tend to do their people some favors. But the reality is Michael Venom Page is a lightning fast striker who can cover distance insanely quick. Shara's got a good chin on him, so I don't think Michael Page is going to finish him. We are going to need an appropriate decision. No gifts from the judges, right? We're going to need a genuine decision here. Something obvious, not like what Renat got, but something a little more obvious, because otherwise they may school Michael Venom Page. But the reality is he's a very good striker. He's lightning fast. He covers distance well. He's got that unorthodox karate style. And Shara likes to throw a bunch of kicks. And the reality is, yeah, he did the double spinning back fist knockout, and that was spectacular to watch. He wasn't really winning that fight before that happened. He was struggling with a absolute bum Antonio Tricoli who stepped up on short notice. Like, Shara's getting these wins, but he's not the killer that they told us he would be. And I think Michael Page, somebody as technical, clean, and fast as he is, could have some success. And then Jairzinho Rozenstruik, very large underdog. And yeah, he could be flatlined almost immediately. But he is a professional kickboxer. He has traveled the world kickboxing. He's got clean technique, and he's a counter striker. We just watched Sergey Pavlovich struggle a little bit with some basic jabs. And yeah, he fought a giant, and range was partially the issue there. But if Jairzinho Rozenstruik waits, pumps a jab, lets Sergey come rushing forward, steps off to the sides, Jairzinho can win this fight. Sergey slows down as the fight goes on. Jairzinho does not. I think Jairzinho wins this fight. I'm outright picking him. And these odds continue to get better because this line is moving the opposite direction. Let's take a look at some bets. Because I am filming this so early in the week, we're going to hide some things, and I'm not done. As more prop bets drop, we'll see what happens later in the week once we start to get takedown prop bets and striking prop bets. But there will be more bets. This is what I have for now. This is what I'm filming with what we were given at this point in time. I did take two people that I was somewhat confident in, but not sold on, right? I think Mike Davis is going to win. I think Shamil's going to win. I didn't make that the safety parlay. That is not the safety parlay. It could be. I'm pretty confident in them. I debated it, but ultimately the Mike Davis layoff and the Shamil just still question mark above his head is the reason I didn't put in the safety parlay, but I did bet on it. Safety parlay to me is, I don't think you guys will ever understand how important that is to me. When that safety parlay misses, which does happen, I've hit 10 of 12, that means I missed 2 in the last 12 events, which is nothing if you zoom out and look at it as a whole. It's everything 4 minutes after it misses, and you have literal thousands of people leaving nasty, horrific comments. That's just the reality of what we do here. So when I do place a bet, and when I do decide what is this safety parlay going to be, a lot of pressure, a lot of weight, and a lot of well thought out logic goes into it. This was one that I debated, but I didn't quite do that. And that's because, as I mentioned, the layoff of Mike Davis and Shamil, I mean, yes, he's coming off a win, a decision win. He had some cardio, but, let's just make sure. Confident enough to bet, not confident enough to put the stamp on him. Then I also sort of doubled down on the Shamil world there, and I did over 1.5 rounds in that fight. He's got finishes. Thomas Peterson's got a decent chin on him, right? Thomas Peterson's not a guy that is going to get knocked out instantly. Shamil's a guy that's durable enough. He fixed the cardio issues after the embarrassment that was the Rosenstruik fight. So I do think this fight goes a little bit. It might even go to a full-blown decision. Obviously, the line is what it is there, so I put a full unit on that. Then we have Vinicius Oliveira win inside the distance, decision, no action. He's also a solid underdog. I could have put him in that solid underdog list, but I didn't. Vinicius Oliveira, very dangerous. He's got fast hands. He's a durable guy. He's got wrestling. He's got pressure. He's the lock dog, and he fights like a dog. He just fought a spectacular wrestler, didn't care at all. And now he's fighting a very good striker. The only thing that actually worries me in this fight, and this bet specifically, is that Vinicius could come in a little too reckless, somehow give up his neck to a guy that has submitted 3 of his last 5 people with a guillotine choke. This bet says Vinicius Oliveira win inside the distance, decision, no action. Effectively, what that means is if Vinicius Oliveira wins this fight by finish, if he somehow stops Said Nurmagomedov, I'll get paid at plus money. If it goes to a decision, win or lose, I get a full refund. The only way I lose this bet, where they keep my money, I don't get a refund or I don't win more money, is if Vinicius gets finished. I don't see that happening. Said's got some finishes, obviously. But there's only so many people you can choke before people stop worrying about being choked. We do have a canceled bet here. This was just canceled today. I had Al Sawadi. He was taking on Balajioki. I picked him. I bet on him. I loved him as an underdog in that matchup. And then that fight dropped. I guess Balajioki backed out. So that is what it is, but it is here because if you're a premium member, you saw that bet. I've got another premium member money line and, of course, the premium member safety parlay. There are more bets coming. I might even add another safety parlay or make some adjustments there. We'll see how the week goes on. We'll see what happens with some of these lines, and we'll see what additional prop bets drop. If you do want to check out everything that we do, including that safety parlay, which is the beacon of stability, you can do so now. It's freaking $10. Yeah, you'll get the UFC Saudi Arabia safety parlay. You also get the UFC 312 parlay. You also get the 2 events after that, safety parlay. Every single freaking thing that we do. No packages, no nonsense, no tiers, no add-ons, all the fantasy, all the bets, everything. $10 for all of it. WeWantPicks.com. Here's a little teaser from Jakey Boy. Again, very early in the week, so the bet I'll give you of his is the lock of the week. He did go with Michael Venom Page. He put together a short and sweet video. And I know, Jacob, but you lost your last few lock of the weeks. Let me tell you this. Last year, as a whole, I know a lot of you live and breathe 1 week at a time. You only care about what happened that 1 week. And I'm a big believer in it's somewhere in between. All the losers that are like, oh, but I made money 4.5 years ago. I know I've been losing since then, but I made money 4.5 years ago. That's absurd. All the people who say, I've been losing for 9 months, but I won yesterday. I'm back. That's also absurd. It's somewhere in between, right? Let's take a look at a rolling 3-month average. Something like that, right? A rolling 12, a rolling 15 events. That seems like an appropriate window of time to determine if you know what you're talking about or you're not. This is the fight game. Anything can happen. If we take a look at that rolling period of time, Jakey Boy has never had an upside down rolling 10, 12 weeks with the lock of the week. The lock of the week is a free pick. It's a free bet. He puts together a spectacular video, sometimes funny, sometimes intense, depending on his mood, and he gives you an underdog pick every week. I think Michael Venom Page is a solid pick. I picked him long before we got here. So I'm rooting for him. And if you believe in him, he got him at plus 150. Those odds are still about the same right now. We'll see what happens come fight night. We'll see what happens after weigh-ins. People might be like, ooh, Venom's looking a little skinny here. We'll see what ends up happening. He's had a couple other bets, and obviously we're very early in the week, and I expect more to come. Unlock everything that he does and I do at WeWantPicks.com. And let's take a look at BetOpenly. UFC 311 notably had some horrible lines. I mean, we had multiple minus 1,000 plus favorites. We had multiple minus 6, 7, 800 favorites. And if you want better value and you're trying to find your spots, BetOpenly will give you the best odds literally every time. And that's because they're not a sports book. It's not you versus them. They're not trying to win bets. They don't care. All they're doing is taking 1% of the bets from the winner. So if I win $100, they take $1. I get $99. And because they don't care who wins or loses in a bet, they can pass on the savings on to you because it's me versus you. It's two different human beings on different sides of the country or different sides of the world betting each other. And one of them's going to win, one of them's going to lose. BetOpenly will take 1% to run their business, and the rest of that savings gets passed on to you. A casino, a sports book, needs you to lose. If everybody was winning all the time always at DraftKings would go out of business. They're just constantly paying out. They rely on people to do 15-leg parlays for $5, and that's where 80% of the revenue comes, but that's neither here nor there. Check out BetOpenly, literally the best odds on the planet. I like to use them for arguments with weirdos. There's always a weirdo. And you're... I can't trust you. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. You're just a screen name. But if you really want to disagree this much, I'll bet you on BetOpenly. Put up your money, send me the link. I'll take the other side. This way you can't screw me when I win. Inevitably. But check them out. WeWantPicks.com/BetOpenly or BetOpenly.com. And if you want 50, we'll send you 50. Sign up with any one of our sportsbook affiliates. Sign up. Make a deposit. We will send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me. I'll slice off some of that money, and I'll give it right back to you. Nobody's more excited than me than fights are back every single Saturday. Let's enjoy these together. UFC Saudi Arabia is a nice early fight card. I live in the central time zone. I think it kicks off at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. potentially. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you are too.